Alright, so this is going to be part 2 to What If Deku Had Dark Matter. So with that being said, let's just roll the intro.
Treat a bad bitch like she average. I'm a savage, no hoe, what you want do? I'm about cash if the raw fast. I'ma get that little nigga by any means.
So before we get started with this What If, I would like to say that I'm actually going to do a Q&A for my 1.5k subscribers or 1,500 subscribers special. So I made a kind of post on my community tab, and right there you could ask questions, or you could ask questions here. And basically I'm doing this early because I want to accumulate enough questions to do a Q&A. And then yeah, so if you have any questions for me, then you could either comment down on this video or go to my community tab, see my latest post, and then just comment down there. But anyways, with that being said, let's just actually get into this what if. So in the last part we just got done with Deku going into UA. And a little side note, right? When I said about dark matter and having as many giving any property to it, I meant like physical properties and things like that, right? So when you say that you want something to have healing properties, what do you like? You got to be more specific, right? Because even though it doesn't really follow the laws of physics, the kind of properties that you give it are that physically or still based kind of in physics, if that makes sense. So yeah, so but he can technically he could heal people in certain ways, but you gotta be kind of specific. I also forgot one power that dark matter does have that I didn't mention in the last video, and that is to I forgot the specific power, what it's called, but basically he runs like dark matter over a surface of anything, and basically he's able to learn information about what's happened on that like surface. Like let's say he was like he had his like dark matter go over like the floor of a place, and what would happen is that he would take information and he would learn what all the stuff that's happened on that floor, like things like the amount of pressure, the amount of people, things that happened there, if anyone like has fought there and things like that. So yeah, that is a power that dark matter has. I forgot the actual name of the power, but yeah. So let's get into the actual what if now. So we would get to the kind of first day of UA, and this is when I guess this kind of be a little recap because I'm pretty sure I went over this in the first part, but let's go through it anyways. So Deku would meet up with Ida because he'd be the first one that he would see, because he's talking to Bakugo, and he would hear Ida talking about how Bakugo needs to have more respect about the stuff that UA is providing them, such as the tables, right? So Deku would already like Ida because he has that kind of personality just like him, about having that kind of by the books and being very serious kind of personality because of how he grew up, right? So after that was done, Bakugo would try to like he would get be mad because Deku's there and they don't really get along too much, so he would try to like talk to him. But before he could do that, this is when Uraraka would come, and she would notice that these people are kind of gathering up and talking, and she would try to join the conversation, and she would basically introduce herself saying that, hello, I'm Uraraka, nice to meet you. And this is when Ida and Deku would introduce themselves. So yeah, and this is when Deku would basically say like, if you guys are ever in a bind, you could always rely on me. Just give me a call and I'll be there to help you out. And both of them would, us really like Deku because of this, and they would appreciate the kind of gesture, right? And before they could continue talking, this is when Aizawa actually comes through, right? And people are kind of confused because they don't know who this person is. He kind of looks really tired, but it turns out it's their actual homeroom teacher. And he says, all right, class, enough with the talking. We're going to do a quirk assessment instead of, what's it called? Instead of orientation. So get in your like PE uniforms and meet me in the field. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, whoever does the least actually gets expelled. And the entire class is like, what? You can't do that. He's like, oh yeah, try me. I already, expelled an entire class before, so there's nothing really you could do except for trying your best. So everyone would kind of go to the field and put on their PE uniforms, and when they get there, they would have Deku basically be the one to throw the ball first. Or I guess no, they would get Bakugo since he was the one who got the top score in the kind of entry exam, because Deku took the recommendation. So Bakugo would throw the ball normally and only get 70 meters without using his quirk. So then Aizawa would say, all right, now use your quirk. And then this is when Bakugo will get around 700 meters, something like that. And he's like, Aizawa would make a point that, normal school kind of restricts your powers, but at UA, you're going to be using it to your max. So everyone is like kind of excited to use their quirk because, they've been restricted to most of their lives because of safety reasons. So we actually get into the tests. So Deku, I guess we could start off with the race first. So Deku would be very fast, right? Because of how his, he's able to make those gusts of winds using his wings, right? So he'd be very fast. I think he'd be faster than Ida and everyone else. So he would get first place using his quirk, and he only have 2 wings at this point, or 2 pairs of wings. So he would have one set and then another set below that, and then later on he'll unlock a 3rd set. So after that was done, we would get to the kind of the test of strength, or the grip strength, right? So what Deku would do is that he would just kind of have he would basically make arms using the kind of dark matter from his sides, kind of like the wings, but a little bit different. They would be just arms, and he actually used that to crush the kind of machine, and he would get first place again. So we would get to the ball throw, and this one, everyone would do normal as they normally would, and this is when Deku would be like, Aizawa, is there no limit to how I can use my quirk? And he's like, no, just go at it, kid. And he's like, all right. And this is when Deku actually covers the ball with dark matter, and he gives the property of the dark matter to have reverse gravity or no gravity at all. So when he throws it, it actually starts floating higher and higher and higher until it leaves the atmosphere and leaves the kind of orbit of Earth. And then when Aizawa shows everyone his score, it would say infinity, and everyone would be shocked, like, whoa, what's this guy's like power? He has wings, and then he could do all these other crazy things. And then this is when Deku would kind of face the class and kind of be like, my name is Izuku Midoriya, and my quirk is dark matter. I basically can make anything out of this unknown matter and give it any properties I want. And then he would just go back into the line, just normal, and not really trying to like show off a bit. And he'd be standing there respectively and waiting for the other students to get done. So then Uraraka would go next, and she would get infinity as well. So she would tie for first place in the ball throw. And the other kind of the tests, Deku would either get first or second, most likely first, just like due to how strong he could make. He could basically make almost anything. So yeah, so we would get to the results, right? And this is when we'll say that's the invisible girl actually gets expelled. But Deku in this one would actually stand up for her because he has that very protective side of him, and he wants to be someone that people can rely on. So he'd be like, Aizawa, I don't think this is fair. People can grow and they could become stronger, and you're missing a very good opportunity to see that in a person like I forgot her name. I think her name's like starts with an H, I think. But yeah, he'd basically explain that, and Aizawa would see this and see the kind of passion that Deku's having, and he would be like, fine, you could stay, right? So we would get to the next period, and this is when what's it called, All Might would actually come through and basically be like, I am here as your combat instructor. And he would see everyone in the room, and I think Deku, he wouldn't have his like wings out all the time. He would like keep it hidden, or not hidden, but he just wouldn't have them out just because they would be a nuisance. So yeah, just to make that kind of clear. But yeah, so he would look around the kind of classroom, and he would be like, hey, kid, is your name Izuku or Midoriya? And he'd be like, yeah, it is. He's like, oh, I remember you. You're the kid that helped me capture the sludge villain. And this is when Deku would be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And everyone would be like, what? Like, you helped All Might capture a villain? And he would be like, yeah, this villain was attacking me, so I captured him, put him in a kind of spear made of dark matter, and I gave it to All Might. And this was when All Might was like, yes, you're a very capable student, and I knew you would have gotten into UA. And then I think All Might would have done a little bit more research into Deku since he got a recommendation, so he would know about that. So he'd basically say, alright guys, or class, you need to design your hero suit and things like that. So I'm not sure what I could give Deku as his hero suit. I was thinking something more like angelic, I guess. Or I guess he could create his own suit as well, since anything they could make, he could just make a lot better and things like that. Or he could give him the material and do it that way. Actually, let's go with that. He would go with the kind of support team, and they would explain the plans that they want, and he would tell them that he could basically make matter with any properties, so they would come up with even better stuff, and the cost of the stuff that he would make would be basically free because Deku would have infinite amount of dark matter to use. So he would make the suits, or his suit in particular, using his own design and the help of the kind of support team to give him specific things that it needs to make it work. Because if he doesn't know how it works, then, or if he doesn't know what to do, then he can't really make it, you know what I mean? So yeah. So I was thinking like his suit could be something that like an angel would wear, or something similar, like an archangel from like High School DxD, something like that. If I remember how it looks like, I'm not sure too well, but yeah. So we would get to the point where they would go outside and they would be in that kind of test city, and All Might would basically say that this is the point where we're actually going to do the heroes versus villains kind of assignment or test. And he's going to be drawing random people to get on the teams, and one team's going to play the villain, the other's going to play the hero. So the teams would be the same, with Uraraka and Deku being on a team, and Ida and Bakugo being on a team. So they would be the two being paired up, and they would go against each other. So Deku would still be the place of the hero, and Uraraka would be with him, and Ida and Bakugo would be the villain. So they would be the same, where they would investigate the kind of plans of the building, and then when they walk in, the same thing would happen, where Bakugo would try to rush and get him, not listen to Ida. So when Bakugo goes to rush for Deku, he would block the kind of attacks using his wings, right? And Bakugo would have no way of getting through his defenses. So what Deku actually does is that he extends the feathers of the wings to kind of pin him against the wall, kind of how dark matter was able to extend his his wings to slice to people, right? So after that was done and he's pinned against the wall, this is when Bakugo would frantically try to use explosions to get himself out. And I guess he would, using try to explode him off the kind of wall, and he would escape free, right? So he would rush towards Uraraka, and this is when Deku would rush in with his wings also and try to hit him he would hit him in the stomach using his wings, kind of the side of it, not trying to cut him, right? Because he would dull it so he wouldn't slice through him. And right as that's done, he would tell Uraraka to go ahead of him and try to get the bomb as he fights Bakugo. And Bakugo would be really mad. So what he would do is that he would try to he would pull the pin from his grenade gauntlets, right? And as this is done, Deku would basically do a gust of wind using his wings to try to nullify the explosion, kind of counteracting it, which I think would be a lot stronger than him pulling his grenade, because he would know that he would amplify his power because it'd be a lot more storage in the kind of gauntlets. So yeah, as this is happening, the kind of building itself is kind of shaking at this point. So after this is done, the person who would come out on top would be Deku, since he has a lot higher defense and a lot more offense as well. So after Bakugo would be kind of knocked out because he'd be pushed against the wall using the gust of wind, even though he used that explosion, there wouldn't be enough firepower. So after that was done, Deku would use the tape and kind of wrap it around him to kind of basically get him out of the match. So Deku would get to the kind of top floor with Ida and Uraraka there. So what he would do here, Ida wouldn't see a way to beat him because of how strong Deku is. So he would pick up the bomb and try to not let him touch it, right? So what Deku does is that he lets a bunch of dark matter kind of spew out onto the floor, and he makes it like a liquid and makes it very slippery. So this causes Ida to slip and fall, losing losing the bomb in the process. And this is when Deku would kind of use dark matter to make a kind of chain to pull in the kind of the bomb, and as that's done, he would touch it and it'd be over, right? So we would get to the point where they're actually analyzing the fight, and Bakugo would be berated for not listening to Ida and going off by himself. Ida would still get complimented for actually getting into the role of a villain and actually trying his best to get away from the heroes and try to run down the clock. Deku would get praise because of all the things he could do and how well he's handled the situation, but he would also get praise for protecting Uraraka. But at the same time, he would say, like, you should have let her be more involved, and they would tell Uraraka to get more involved. So yeah, that's basically what All Might would tell him. And the other fights still go the same as usual. And when they get down to actually voting for the kind of class president, I think they would get Ida and or Deku as the president, or the representative, I mean, and then Ida as the vice representative. So yeah. So with that being said, I guess this is gonna be the end of the video. Remember, if you like this series, give it a like to make sure I know it. And for reals, likes actually do a lot to get the video noticed and get recommended to other people. So if you like the video, it does better. So yeah, with that being said, this is gonna be the end of the video. So yeah.